Hey, good morning guys. Today we're gonna go down to Corona and help my brother fix his Subaru, and we actually have a special package for the 350Z that we'll open up together once we get there. It's not too big of a deal, it's just leaking oil from the transmission pan. And I also have a special surprise for you. We're driving the Corolla. It's been a while since I've driven it, maybe like about a month or something. It's about time we drive it because you know, tires get flat, batteries get flat. It actually didn't want us to turn on. Since it is carbureted, I'm assuming that all the fuel went back to the fuel tank, and yeah, it just took a while to start, but we got it going, so we're gonna drive it today. We're gonna go and get it washed too. Well, let's head out. Alright guys, so we picked up Louie's car. Before I started it, I actually checked the transmission fluid, and it turns out that it was just overfilled. So I'm going to be draining out some of the fluid. Hopefully it stops the leak. I don't know if you can tell, but it is smoking because the leak is dropping straight onto the catalytic converter, which is a fire hazard. So I'm hoping that it's not the front or the rear seals that are also messed up, and hopefully we can get his car back up to good condition so he doesn't have any issues with the transmission anymore. This is his 2002 Subaru Forester. Has a 2-inch lift, some mud tires, and some steel wheels. Not bad. So after checking the transmission level, it seems like it is a little high. He added a little bit too much, so I drained out some of it, checked it again, and it still seems like it's a bit high, so we're gonna have to drain some more of it out. If you drain a little bit too much, it's okay, because I mean, you can always go out and buy another quart, but you can't overfill your transmissions, or else they're going to leak from the seals, and you can actually cause the whole transmission to fail. So you got to be careful when you're adding new fluid to it after you drain it out to replace the filter or anything else. From the looks of it, the oil pan itself seems like it's not leaking. It seems like it's leaking from somewhere else. So I'm hoping that it was just overfilled to the point to where it was leaking out of the front seal, and hopefully it didn't push it out, because if it did, we're gonna have to pull the transmission out to replace that seal, and that's not gonna be fun. All right. I'm not exactly sure how many extra quarts it has in there right now, but it's almost about maybe a good 2 inches above the line that it's supposed to be where it's full. So we're gonna bring it back down off of these ramps, check the fluid level again, and see if we have to continue draining it. So we're checking the oil level now, and as you can see, it's actually a lot better. It used to be way up here, now it's down here. We still need a little bit to go because these holes represent where it's supposed to be. This one up here is where it's supposed to be while it's hot, and we're just maybe a quart past that. So we're gonna put it back on the ramps, and we're gonna see if we can take another quart out and get it back to its normal range. And like I said, if you do go a little over, you know, if we pull a little bit more than we should out, we can always go get another quart and pour it back in. Just new stuff. Don't ever reuse old oil, especially after it's been in a container. You don't know what type of contaminants are in there. But we're gonna put it back on the ramps, drain some more out. Hopefully we get it right on the spot. If not, we will go to the parts store and get another quart and pour it into the level it's supposed to be. And then that way he can drive it and not worry about it leaking all over the place. When you're doing this, make sure your transmission oil or your whole car is actually cooled down. Don't do it while it's hot, or else you're gonna scald yourself and just get a nice burn. So like I said, we want the core out, so this is pretty much like about a guesstimation. I really can't tell you how much I'm taking out until I come back up and check the top again. So we're gonna stop right around there, and we'll bring it down, check it again, and hopefully the transmission isn't underfilled now. Make sure it's nice and tight so you get a nice seal and it doesn't leak from there. And again, let's throw it back on the ramps and see, or off the ramps and check it. All right, so let's check it again. And there you have it. It looks like it's right where it's supposed to be. It stops right about there. Right where the hot sign is. So we'll drive it around and see what it does. Hopefully it stops smoking, because we did take a lot of oil out of there. So it shouldn't be leaking at anymore, unless, like I said, it blew one of the seals out, which I'm hoping it didn't, but we'll find out together, huh? Drive it a little longer to see if it's still going to be pouring smoke onto the or out of the back of the car and pouring oil onto the exhaust. Hopefully it doesn't, but you know, we have to test drive it, make sure everything's good before we hand it back to them. I love working on cars, and I like making sure that the car is going to work 100% after I finish working on it. It's just, when people have old cars, they're old cars. You fix one thing, something else is gonna break later on. You fix that thing, something else breaks. It's just a constant. If you don't want your car to break down all the time, buy a new car. Make sure it's a manual too, because we have to keep the manuals alive. But if you don't want to be spending money on fixing your car every couple of months, buy a new car. That way you don't have to worry about fixing it. You know, and if something does break, it's under warranty. So I drove it up a steep hill. It doesn't seem like it's leaking any fluid. I've been driving it for like maybe 5 minutes now, so it should have already warmed up and burnt shit off. I'm gonna pull over real quick and check it just to make sure that everything's okay. But it seems to be shifting. Everything seems to be working properly. There isn't any smoke coming out of the back, like he was saying. Hopefully he can go and drive it normally now, go back to school, but he does need an alignment and a tire rotation, so I'll make a note of that and let him know. You know, Louis, you're gonna watch this, so just make sure you take care of that. Get an alignment, that way your tires can last longer. Leaking anymore, and if it is leaking, hopefully it's an easy fix. So the oil pan still seems dry, so it's not leaking from the oil pan, but it does look wet up here, so it may be leaking from a seal or this gasket over here. Fuel filter, oil filter seems dry also. This side of the transmission looks fine too. It is still burning the oil off of the exhaust though, so hopefully when he drives it, as he's driving it, it'll burn all that extra stuff off. But yeah, the gasket job that me and him did for the oil pan, it's holding. There's no leaks on the oil pan. So we'll see when he drives it around for a while. Now he can take it to school. That's like one of the things that I was worried about, is that he couldn't go to school because of his car being down. But yeah, let's get it off the ramps. We'll check the oil level one more time, see what it looks like, and hopefully it's good to go. So here we have the 350Z just chilling on top of its trailer because it's no longer a street car. But for those of you that know about this car, we have big beefy boys up front to get that grip. We have BC coilovers, but we went full coilover in the back also because you know, it's just better if you go full coilover. That way we can get rid of the spring cup thing that comes with the stock springs on the 350Z. So if you know, then you know what we're going to do and what's in this package. Now, when it comes to race cars, or at least cars that are going to be used for, you know, performance, I like buying beefy stuff, especially because we're going to thrash it. So what we have here, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know what company we went with. Because I love their products. And yes, those of you that do know 350Zs, we did get the lower arm delete, but it's also a tow-in kit. So because we lowered the car, we needed camber arms to fix the camber in the back, but we don't have a way to adjust tow. So to delete those cups, we got these puppies, big beefy boys, from Parts Shop Max. Honestly, out of all the things that I buy, I love the Parts Shop Max stuff because they just look so freaking beefy. There's other ones that are scrawny compared to this, and you know, I've used other brands and they're not bad, but for the kind of stuff that I'm gonna be doing with the 350Z, I need to make sure that the beefy boys are as beefy as they can be, so that I don't break them on track. So these are going to replace those cups. Unfortunately, I can't do it today because I am doing or working on something else. And then also, there's no way for me to get the 350Z off of the trailer, since I didn't bring my FJ Cruiser to move the trailer around with. But these arms are going on in the next video that has to do with 350Z. But also, we're going to be changing the battery from its stock location in the engine bay to right behind the passenger seat. We still have to get the box, the battery box, and we still have to get the tie downs, but I mean, that's easy to get. That's not a problem. Jesus, all this damage. Yeah, that was done by Wendy at the last Sparkle Motion event, since she decided to go off-roading and hit the tires. If I can find the picture, I'll post it up right here. We need to paint the car, or I'm sorry, we need to paint the bash bar. We need to redo the battery. We got to install these arms, and then we also have to change out that coil pack that went out on number 1 cylinder. Aside from that, apart from that, we also need to go and get it aligned, because I mean, you can just tell right here, this front tire is facing that way and this tire is facing straight. So I'm assuming she damaged something, or just threw it off alignment. So what's gonna happen here is, once we remove this cup here, this whole arm, it's gonna be replaced by the big boys that we got from Part Shop Max. And that's actually going to allow the tire to be adjusted in and out this way. So, I mean, you can't tell on camera, but right now, instead of the tire being straight with the car, it's towed in. So what we're going to do is, we're going to install those arms, and we'll be able to pull this side inwards, which is going to pull this side outwards. And it's going to be able to track a lot straighter on the straightaways, and it'll just feel overall better. But like I said, that's just going to be for another video. Today, we came to work on this guy. And we need to get it ready so that Louis can go to school.